Hey there everybody, it is Thaylar here, and we are going to do an introduction and tutorial on the scan tool for the Structurize mod. Alright, our first tutorial here is just going to be a basic function of how to scan a schematic. Now I have my schematic here that I want to scan. It just happens to be Town Hall level 1, so let's left click on the first block and right click on the second block, and if I right click while I have my cursor pointed at nothing or I have no blocks selected with it, it brings up the user interface. You can see here that I'm using slot 1. This is our position. These are our coordinates in space that define the boundaries of the schematic, and I have a scan name. I have this green check mark and a red X. We also have our show resources button here, so if we click on this we can see what's in the schematic, and we'll cover more of that later. So if we hit the red X, we just exit out of the GUI. If we right click on space, then it brings it right back up again. So our scan name we can either say is Town Hall 1, or we can actually specify a folder location. So this is Sanditon. The Town Hall is generally found in the Fundamentals folder, and it is Town Hall 1. Now if I hit that green check, it saves it, and that is all we have to do to save a schematic. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to our second little tutorial here. Because remember, here's our Town Hall 1, and I'm on slot 1. So if I sneak and I mouse wheel scroll up, I go to scan tool 2, 3, 4. This goes all the way up to 9 and starts at 0. So you can potentially scan 10 schematics at a time. So I have my Town Hall 1 scanned already, or at least the volume selected. So let's go ahead and select a volume for Town Hall number 2. So we left click on the first block, right click on the second block, and if we click on space, you can see that our volume is selected. We have our GUI up. Now I have to retype this in, but I don't really want to do that. So what I can do is, if we come back here to Town Hall 1 and I right click, you'll see that it's highlighted back there. If I click up here, if I actually hold down the shift key and press my left arrow so that I highlight that area, and I hit Control C, I just copied that. So let's come back over here. Let's sneak and scroll up with our mouse wheel to come back to our second schematic. Click on our scan name, hit Control V. Let's delete the 1 and type in a number 2. And all we did was copy and paste that text so that I don't have to type it in every single time. Typos are a big problem when you're trying to do this. You don't want any typos, so hit that green check, and we just saved Town Hall 2. Now I'm going to go ahead off camera and just go ahead and do our other 3 schematics here. Okay, we are back again. Now I've gone through and set the volume for all 5 of my Town Hall schematics. You can see the boundary. If you can see that on YouTube, it scans through there and you can see the numbers change at the bottom. So our next function and tutorial of the scan tool here is actually going to involve the Autoscanner that's here. Now the reason that we have different slots on the scan tool is so that we can highlight multiple volumes at a time with the same tool. And if I come over here and I sneak and I pick block, which is the middle mouse button, you can see that it says I pasted in the current scan, which is the Town Hall 1. So if I get rid of that, I right click on here, you can see that my Town Hall scan command is in here. So this /structurize scan, that's our command for Structurize. That's going to scan this volume between these 2 points and save it into the Sanditon folder, into the Fundamentals folder as Town Hall 1. Now if I come back over here, so if we sneak and scroll up to Town Hall 2 and sneak and pick block or middle mouse button, we can paste in number 2, number 3, 4, and 5. Now, what did we just do? So we have all of our volumes selected there. or set up. You know, we have to do something because these are command blocks. So let's hit this button, and it just scanned all 5 levels of the town hall for me. Now this is set up so that you can scan an individual building if you're only making changes on an individual building, or you can scan your entire style at one time if you had to make multiple changes. Now this really speeds things up, because let's say I had to come over here and fix a block on the 4th level of the town hall. Instead of having to actually scan that volume, bring up the menu, type in my file name again, and save it, I just come back over here. I made my changes, I press the button, it saves it, it exports it to the correct folder, and I'm done. I can move that over, I can start playing, I can do whatever I want to do. And our next tutorial is going to be about how to use the scan tool to actually teleport around the world, because as you can see, there's a lot of buildings for Minecolonies, and let's pretend that we are working out here on the alchemist hut. That is the last building that as of recording this video was made. So you can see here I've got my alchemist hut. We would name it Sandyton, Mystic maybe, doesn't matter for the tutorial, and that's what we would name it. Now over here in our options for Structurize, you can see there's a lot of keybinds you can set. Here's Structurize. You can set all of these. I've cleared them all out from whatever they were defaulted to, except for the scan tool teleport. I have that set to B. So you can see that I have this area scanned. Now this is a brand new scan tool, so you can see that it's not going to let me teleport. So I have to use Journey Map to actually teleport back over to here. And we will come back down here. What did I name that? Alchemist 5. I don't think any part of that is correct, but it doesn't really matter. So we'll come over here. We will sneak and pick block to paste that in there. So that pasted in our command as usual. Now if I have the scan tool up and I need to make a change over here where I was working, if I press the B key, it teleported me all the way out here to that schematic. If I press the B key again, it will take me back to the last command block that I had interacted with. Very helpful, as you can take a wild guess, for teleporting and getting around your world and setting up this auto scanner. Alright, here we are for another function of the scan tool. So I'm going to bring this back over here to Town Hall 1. And if we right click, you can see that it says show resources. So if I click on that, you can see all the resources that are in the schematic. Let me come over here maybe so it's a little clearer. That's a little better. You can see we have sand, sandstone stairs, oak planks, air. But let's say I want to remove the oak planks from a schematic. I just click remove and they'll be gone. I don't want to do that, so I'm not gonna. But possibly more important function is that I can actually replace the oak planks with something else. So I want to replace my oak planks with spruce planks. So I just select that. We're going to take oak planks and replace them with spruce planks. And you can see that it says random percentage 100. So 100% of the oak planks will be replaced with spruce planks. Hit that green check mark. Now if we get out of the user interface here and I come down here, you can see that these are all spruce planks. Now, I don't actually like that change, so let's just right click, bring up our user interface, bring up our resources. Well, I don't see oak planks and I don't see spruce planks, so let's just go ahead and search for spruce up here. Now it filters that so that all I see are the spruce planks. Now let's go ahead and replace that, and I want to go ahead and replace it back to oak planks. Now you can see, if you were paying attention, that I searched two different ways. The first time I typed in spruce and it brought up all the spruce blocks. All these are all the spruce named blocks, right? Now, if I type in planks, I can bring up all of the plank type blocks. let's say I actually don't want to replace 100% of the spruce planks with oak planks. I just change the random percentage to 50, and I hit that green check mark, get out of the interface, and you can see now that it replaced, roughly 50% of the blocks with oak planks. But, I'm really just not feeling that either. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Let's bring up our spruce planks. Let's replace the rest of those with oak planks, and there we go. They are 100% replaced. We're back to where we started from, and that is how you interact with the scan tool for either removing or replacing blocks. So you can see that if I remove them there, they're just gone. There's nothing but a hole here. You do have the option down here to undo the removing of those blocks, and they're back again. I don't really recommend that you use the undo tool, because you can see that you only have so many slots, and each time you use it, you can undo the undo. So if you undo too many things, all you end up with is a list of undoing them. So don't try to rely on that too often, just because it's a bit quirky. Okay, here we are. We are back again for our final section of the scan tool, and to do this I actually need to bring up some blocks here. So let's bring up our barracks and a barracks tower and just some stone. So let's say that I have built the barracks. That's our volume. Let's go ahead and put our barracks right there, and we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 barracks towers. Now let's go ahead and come up here to a new volume. So we are in Scan Tool 6. You can see that there's nothing here. So if you right click and you don't see anything, it's because you're on a new slot 6, and there's no saved information there. So let's left click our first block, right click our second block. Now you can see that this is the volume that we're going to scan. The barracks is a special case. It's a parent-child schematic, and it isn't necessarily unique. You can specify other things to be parent-child schematics. I do not recommend that you do that. It's confusing, it's a pain in the butt, and it's more difficult. But we have to do that for the barracks. Now, if I were to scan this, it actually wouldn't work. If I come over here to my build tool, I've already kind of done a test with this. So if I come over here, you can see that I did test 1. This was a different scenario here, and we end up with test 2. We have test 1 and test 2 because we didn't set an anchor point. So if we want to set an anchor point in this schematic, what we'll do is we'll actually sneak left click. You can see I set an anchor point down there in the bottom left. So now if I right click on nothing, it'll bring up the user interface, and we have this red box surrounding the barracks. Let's hit escape so that we can actually get out of the menu, and you can do that too, by the way. I didn't mention that. You don't actually have to close the menu to get out of it. If you hit escape or press the escape key, you'll get out of the menu. You can fly around and look at what you're doing. This is going to be barracks 1, and then if we scan the same volume as barracks 2, except I'm going to go ahead and break that one so that we can see the change here. Barracks 2, and we save that. What we get in the menu now is this barracks, and you can see here's our barracks 1, there's our barracks 2. That's a little bit backwards from the way it should have worked, but or from the way the mod generally works. You want more things the higher level you go, not less. But you can see that it shows up differently. It's capitalized for starters, and it's barracks, and we have level 1 and level 2. If we did not set the anchor point, it would actually, what we end up with is this, because the mod doesn't know how to interpret which of these hut blocks is the parent and which one is the child. So this would not function correctly in game. You have to set the anchor block to your parent hut. You could simply have your parent hut be the chicken herder, and your child is the shepherd. You could do that if you wanted to. That's just the way parent-child schematics work. The real problem is that you have overlapping volumes that you have to address, but that is our final tutorial for how you deal with the scan tool in Structurize mod. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. I'll answer it as best I can. Otherwise, we'll catch you in the next video.